Now that I have the base created for my coil pot, it is time that I start building up the walls. I'm going to grab my template and I'm going to pay attention to what shape I'm doing. Is it going up? Is it going in? Is it going out? Is it going to get wider? It's going to get skinnier. According to my template, mine's going to get a little bit wider. So I need to know that. You can tell that in this video I've already made my coil and it's ready to be attached. I'm just sizing it out right now and I'm trying to make sure that I do the appropriate size for what should be my next coil. Because my project is getting a little bit wider, I'm going to have the coil sit slightly to the outside of the edge of the project. You will also notice that when I cut down my coil, I overlapped the two ends of the coil. I'm then going to take those two ends, I'm making sure that they're the right size, that it's the right thickness. I'm going to go ahead and make that coil blend into itself. So where those two cut edges were, and now they meet, they overlap, I'm going to smooth them in so this looks like one continuous coil. Before we go any further, I want to try and show you what you do not do. If you take the two ends and you do not overlap them, and you start smoothing them in exactly where they meet, what you're going to notice is that the clay gets thinner and weaker where you have smoothed this in. And there's going to be a dip in the clay where you put them in. And that's not a good thing to have. So if you overlap the two coils, it is stronger, but it is weak and easily breakable if you just take two solid ends, butt them up to one another, and try to smooth them out. Now that my coil is its complete circle smoothed in, I'm checking it with the template one more time. Is it the size that I want, and am I happy with that size? If it is in fact the size that I want, I'm going to go ahead and score the surface of my clay. Scoring is making multiple crosshatch lines in multiple directions on both pieces that are going to touch each other. So I'm going to make this crosshatching motion on the base and my very first coil where the two of them touch and overlap. You cannot do it on one and the other and not the other. You must do it on both. Again, notice I am going in multiple directions as I do this. It's also important that I explain to you why you score, because sometimes you guys don't really get this. If I take my hands and they are flat palms and I put my palms together, it's easy to pull my palms apart. But if I take the grooves of my fingers, I lock my fingers together and pull with all my strength, my fingers are a lot harder to get apart. The little scores that you create with the clay are creating small little fingers that can lock together between the base and the first ring, so it makes it stronger. But you also need the glue. The glue, again, is that slip. It's the gooky gunk on the bottom, the mud feeling consistency. It is not the just dirty water sitting on the top. If I had to score both sides, I now have to slip both sides. Once I have both of the pieces slipped, I'm going to put the scored pieces together facing each other, and I'm going to slightly push down so that they suction cup together. If I have slip oozing out in the connection, you know that you did it right and you have enough slip inside of there. Not that you want a lot of it oozing out. At this point in time, what I want to do is I want to actually connect the coils by smoothing them out because I do not want to see each individual coil. So I want to get rid of that place where they meet. I'm going to slowly take my finger, my thumb, or a spoon, and I'm going to gently pull down a little bit of that clay from that ring, and I'm going to smooth it out. I am not pressing on the very top. I am only compressing on those sides where they actually meet. I'm not pulling down the very edge. If it is hard to do with your finger, try a spoon. That's why different materials are there for you to see what works best for you. Once I'm done smoothing the outside, I'm then also going to go back and I'm going to smooth on the inside and get rid of that coil where the two meet. Again, I'm making a stronger and better connection, but I never ever pull down the clay from the top rim of that coil. It'll just thin it out and make it weak. At this point, I'm going to speed up my video just to show you really quickly what it is that I would do to go on with my steps. I'm also going to show you an angle change so you can see how it might look from your perspective. Please notice how I check the template and I look to see if it is matching the right size. If it is too skinny, I'm going to slightly move the coils to the outside edges to make sure that it fits my template. Once I make a correction, I'm going to check with my template again, make sure that it is in fact the size that I want. Again, I overlap my coils and I smooth them in and make it one continuous ring, but I overlap them so that the clay does not get thin or get weak in that spot where they meet. I'm going to speed up this film like I told you I was going to do, and you're going to see me do this really quickly. Also, you're going to notice that I'm slipping and scoring where the two are joining together again. Rule of thumb is the first thing you do for the day must be slipped and scored. Everything after that, if they are both in the plastic stage, does not have to be slipped and scored if you are smoothing it out. Now, look at it from this perspective. You can see me pulling the clay down with my thumb or with the spoon to get a grip to make that seam go away. Notice how I never use the top and I keep my hand on the outside edge so I don't disform it. I often check with my template to make sure I'm doing the right thing, make small and minor touches as I go, and then you will notice that I'm completely finished with this next ring, and I'm going to keep building my way up until I get the form that I planned on.